Hello everyone and welcome to the iSpring Solutions webinar. Thank you very much for joining us today as we are going to be discussing responsive design in e-learning and how to create responsive courses with iSpring. My name is Paulina, I am a community manager and I will be the moderator for today's webinar. As a speaker we have Michael Kokarev. Hi Michael, how are you
Hi.
doing?
Hi. Great as usual. Thank you.
Wonderful. Michael has over 8 years of experience in technical support and today he will be glad to present this topic for you. And we also have today with us very wonderful guest, our very own iSpringer, Nalin Dubey. Hi Nalin, thank you very much for joining.
Hi. Hi, Paulina. It's a pleasure to be here. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Nalin is an instructional designer and e-learning architect, and he will also be sharing his perspective about instructional design. At the end of the webinar, as usual, we will be having a Q&A session. So guys, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, don't hesitate to submit them in the question box, which should be on the right side of your GoToWebinar panel. At this point, I think we are ready to begin. So Michael, I'm passing the mic over to you.
Okay. Hi everybody once more, and thank you for coming. This webinar will cover all the popular questions about responsive design in e-learning. If you have more, just ask. We'll be very happy to answer to them by the end of this webinar or after via email. That's what we do. We'll also give you some recommendations on selecting an authoring tool for creating truly responsive courses, and also we'll be giving you tips on designing your slides, quizzes, and more. I know that course creators of all kinds are interested in this topic, and probably they're listening to us right now. So guys, if you could please share with us what you guys do, it'll be great. You might.
Yeah, I will be launching the poll question right now.
Okay. So yeah, there might be instructional designers, school or college teachers, corporate trainers, or anybody else.
Yeah, if you can quickly click on whoever you are, what your
Or
title is.
maybe we have learners here.
Yeah,
About it.
yeah, guys, if you are um, from some other category, could you please share with us in the comments? It will help us a lot. All right, so actually it looks like almost everybody has voted. We will wait another like 10 or 15 seconds, if that's okay.
Mhm. I see that there is a lot of other.
Other people, yeah.
Yeah,
Who are
we
you
don't
other
know.
people?
We don't know you.
Let us know.
Yeah, and by the way, Nalin, what category do you think you fit more? Like you're instructional designer or school teacher?
Well, I can see more than one category that fits into my work profile. Well, I had been an instructional designer earlier in my career, but now not only for schools, I'm also making courses for corporate training as well.
Okay.
So, though I don't teach the corporate trainees directly, I teach them through the e-learning modules that I develop. So apart from an instructional designer, I mean, I can be an e-learning trainer as well.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
We have a very interesting answer from Gabby. She says that she's an e-learning student and would like to become an instructional designer. How cool is that?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that's a
sounds
great
nice.
path.
Okay, so right now I will close the voting. All right.
Okay, so yeah, let's move on. What is responsive design? I'll put it simply. The responsive design is a term that typically describes the modern web design. It provides the optimal viewing experience no matter what device a user is using. So it's all about automatic space optimization and elements arrangement. Like shown here on this picture, a responsive design will provide you with the full desktop functionality on a mobile device. I mean, all your menus, pictures, sidebars, and the most importantly, text should be in place on your tablets and smartphones. Um, Also, nothing should be lost, and the user experience should be smooth and natural on any device. As for the web design, I'd say that website developers spend a lot of time trying to make their website responsive. And they need to write a specific CSS code for different viewports, such as mobile screens of all kinds of smartphones and their various orientations. Now let's make a transition from web design to course design. The same principles actually go for e-learning courses. Your learners should be able to use any device to view the content and complete the training. Literally, a published e-learning course is an HTML5 interactive web page. I always try to say this so our users understand what iSpring produces. So that solves a certain educational task, but the responsiveness here is something that's included in the authoring tool itself. Unlike a web developer, you shouldn't do a lot of optimization work. In other words, it's a vendor's headache, more kind of stuff, not a user's one. And a user should just pick the right software. What else? I think that in an ideal world, a course creator works just on the content, no extremes like coding or manual layout adaptation. For example, you design your course in PowerPoint, then create quizzes, and you just want to make them available to mobile users, and you don't have to learn CSS for that. That's what we do at iSpring. We just try to create this ideal headache-free world for course designers. That's it. And you might have guessed um, there is no some special magic checkbox like turn on responsive design and then start the publishing process. You cannot control the level of the responsiveness, but knowing all the peculiarities of the responsive design will help you choose the right authoring tool set and refresh your design knowledge. And here's an example of an iSpring responsive quiz. So on the left-hand side, we can see the browser's window that would appear on a computer screen, and the very same question of the same quiz appears on a smartphone in a different variation that fits a smartphone screen better. So this is a responsive design, and this is not responsive design. So it's just a scaled version of the desktop quiz, which is not going to work for mobile users. So it's just for you to get sense of what I'm speaking about. Yeah, and I actually photoshopped it because there is no way that iSpring would create a quiz that is not responsive. It always is responsive. Yeah, let me also clear up this confusion point for you. There is a responsive web design and the adaptive one. And these are two little bit different things. It makes sense primarily for the web design when we resize a browser's window. While responsive design responds to changes in browser width by adjusting the placement of design elements to fit like the entire available space, resizing the browser in adaptive design has no impact. They're just fixed layouts for the adaptive websites. And as far as I know, there are some websites like Amazon.com and others that are adaptive and they're working great. As far as I know, the adaptive design term has been introduced in 2011. So
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fresh technology, both adaptive and the other one, which is responsive.
Mhm. Thank you, Michael. And here I would like to ask Nalin, what definition will you provide for the responsive design?
Well, Paulina, responsive design is probably the most essential parameter of modern web development. I mean, with the introduction of smartphones like Android and iOS, I mean, which can actually display the content as well as it is being displayed on a computer. I mean, it's very important to, while developing an online content, it's very important to understand the need of the audience that is going to view it. So when we know that majority of people are going to access mobile devices, going to access the content through mobile devices, we need to make the content so that it has the characteristics of a responsive content and it performs the same way on a mobile device just like it does on computers. Responsive design for newbies, I mean for novice people who are very new to responsive design, you can imagine responsive content to have the characteristic of a liquid, just like
Mm-hmm.
water. You put it in a glass, it takes the shape of a glass. You put it in a jug, it takes the shape of a jug. So just like that, the responsive content is very sensitive towards the screen of the device it is going to be viewed on. So, there is, I like the point that Michael is discussing here, responsive versus adaptive. I mean, people have been undergoing a lot of confusion these days in between the two. Responsive content is the content having a fluid layout, a liquid, you can consider that as a liquid layout. It can
Mm-hmm.
adjust itself to the screen of the size, but essentially the components will be the same as they are on the computer screen. I mean, if there is a player button on a responsive content, it will remain the same just like it is being viewed on a computer, on a mobile device. But in adaptive, just like for example, if you have a video player, the video player will be having a very specific layout on a mobile device, and it will be different probably from what it looks like on a computer.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for your point, Nalin. All
Yeah.
right, Michael, maybe you will tell us why is responsive design so important?
Yep, sure. Yeah, even if you stick to fashioned e-learning and you design courses primarily for desktops, you cannot ignore the fact that some people may access their courses using their tablets or don't they even dare they're using their smartphones. Since iPads and iPhones have become close to desktop computer in terms of processing power, they have been used for browsing internet and subsequently for online course completion. And there are some really bad news for the course designers who design specifically for desktops and use old authoring tools. As per November 2016, mobile and tablet internet usage exceeds desktop for the first time worldwide. There is a whole article on that, and it just shows us this unhappy uh, this unhappy trend. Well, um, I think that this graph answers to the question why the responsive design is important better than anything else. And when you create a course today, you just need to be sure that it'll run flawlessly on any device. Because otherwise, half of internet users won't be able to complete it. By extrapolating this graph, we can predict that the gap between desktop and mobile internet users will constantly grow until desktops are completely gone, or maybe just used by scientists and programmers. It's kind of new, spooky world, and I've put it up for you. So Terminator's Judgment
Exactly.
Day doesn't sound like the worst alternative now.
Mhm.
So here's another answer why it is important. It's just super convenient to complete an online course on a mobile device. I think that iPad has been designed with the thought in mind that it'll transform education once and forever, given it more gamification, so learners will be more engaged and interested in education process. Uh,
Yeah,
and
that's true. That's true, Michael. Sorry to interrupt. I mean, the iPad and the mobile devices give a very personalized learning experience apart
yeah.
from, regular computers. So, I mean, with the advent of HTML5 and responsive content, the learning process and the learning experience have become much more engaging than it was used to be before.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think it already turned traditional education upside down. Just look at modern schools and how they use iPads officially for learning.
Yeah, there is actually an interesting fact that many schools have switched to iPads because it turned out to be much cheaper than setting up a computer class or buying student books. And it also saves environment because less paper is used, which is nice as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
that's true.
Like,
It's quite environmental.
yeah, stop wasting paper on our children's education and throw in some high tech. But yeah,
Right.
as Nalin said, seriously, tablets are great for online course completion.
And engagement too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we
So
have smartphones too that are going, getting bigger screen size every day. And the day is
Mhm.
not far when the smartphone screen size will be equal to the size of a tablet. It's almost there.
yeah, it's all
Right.
like a it's not an incremental growth of smartphone because there has been an iPhone Plus introduced and it's almost like a tablet and it behaves like a tablet, but it's still a smartphone. So just it's all up to
Yeah, and
people.
not to forget. Exactly, and not to forget the modern Android phones like Sony Xperia and Samsung, which have huge screen sizes. I mean, some of my students who take the iSpring developed courses on their mobile phones, they say that I don't feel the difference between learning on a tablet or on my smartphone. They are almost the same, and the iSpring responsive content occupies the whole screen, so it doesn't make
Mhm.
any difference to me.
Yeah, as for me, I think that smartphones are very portable and good for communication. Um, I personally think that they're not very suitable for education, just for myself, where you need to read a lot, but they are very good at being always with you. And after all, it doesn't matter what I think because people will still use their smartphones no matter what. I mean, probably your students, Nailing, are more heavily using smartphones than we can even think of.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you can quickly share with us how exactly your learners are using smartphones for online class completion.
Yeah, and here's a funny slide I made. Even if some smartphone addict is buried with a smartphone, he'll use it in the first place.
Right.
So
Well, yeah, Michael, the phone model, the BlackBerry model that is being represented in the image, it's quite obsolete. It's very old. I
yeah,
mean, there is hardly anyone who is actually using it. People have switched to touch screen phones and with much bigger and, auto rotate feature screens. So I think this is a very old thing. This guy should leave that time and should jump into the modern time through the time machine to experience the modern learning experience on a smartphone, I guess.
But I heard that BlackBerry's battery lasts forever, so it has a lot of time
yeah, I
for
know
course
that.
We
completion.
have power banks today. Yeah.
Yeah, although Blackberries have all these buttons like old-fashioned controls, they have been more popular than any other old-fashioned mobile phone because of their advanced security. So it'll be great if your courses were able to adapt to smaller smartphone screens. I just wanted to point out that. So yeah, let's move on to the difference between devices. Um, there are three different types of devices that students use for online course completion. They're a desktop, tablet, and a smartphone. And the main difference is the screen size and the aspect ratio. Also very important is the way how a learner interacts with a device, whether it's a touch screen or traditional mouse and keyboard controls. For example, desktop computers have a larger screen size, sometimes 4K, and they are controlled by keyboard and mouse. Trackpad is actually the same thing here. Um, Tablets have relatively large screens and touch control, which is totally different from a traditional mouse. Buttons for touch have to be bigger. Also, tablet device support swipes for navigation, and a user can change the screen orientation, and the content should adapt respectively. As for smartphones, they have smaller touch screens. Um, so every square inch is important, and you need to fit the maximum amount of text and relevant images in common of data of your course, yet preserving the large touch controls for swipe gestures, like the previous version of the iSpring mini player for a smartphone had buttons, but the most modern one does not have buttons. You just use your swipe gestures. Also, portrait and landscape orientation support is required. So an authoring tool should support all these different variations, and when designing an authoring tool, you should keep all these parameters in mind. What else? Maybe other mobile device peculiarities. Um, so who wants a stylus? I think nobody uses stylus since 10 years ago because Steve Jobs made it uncool in less than 10 seconds. But I'd say that,
Not in style anymore.
yeah.
Yep.
But I'd
Bangalore is the best stylus.
Yeah, if your course is not responsive, you will need to use a stylus to be able to click super small checkboxes of a downscaled desktop quizzes. And you will need to wear a monocle, like here. Yeah, again, guys, this is a Photoshop image. There is no such such an appearance of a quiz on a screen. You will not get this experience with iSpring Quiz Maker. So let's move on the responsive design in iSpring. As I mentioned before, iSpring Suite and other desktop authoring tools made by iSpring let you focus on course creation rather than on making it appear on a variety of devices. And all courses that you make with iSpring are fully and automatically responsive. You don't need to adapt a course for several screen layouts and spend extra time. Also, you will not need to fine-tune a presentation player that's called Universal when publishing because it automatically adjusts to any screen. And after you publish your course, you can preview it on all different devices. I can demonstrate it really quickly. Let me open up a.
I think this will be very helpful.
Yep. Sorry for interrupting. Yeah, let me open any of the recent presentations. And if I publish a slide, let me publish a slide that contains a quiz. It'll show you the responsiveness more. I can go preview here, or I can go publish. Let me go, essentially they are very similar things. Here I can select a one slide and quickly publish it on my local computer. Yes, I already have quiz in this file, but I want to rewrite it. So after the publishing process is complete, I can see the preview window, and I can play around with the presentation or with the selected slides that we've published before we send this course to our users. Okay, so here is the quiz in a regular desktop layout. We can see a sidebar on the right side, and here is a tablet view. It's quite similar, but buttons are bigger, and there are no buttons because it's just one slide. Okay, and if I go smartphone, let me start quiz actually. I can see that the layout on the first slide, on the first question in our quiz is this. It features a background image. This actually an additional image, it doesn't matter. And if I go to a smartphone view, I can see that it has been adapted to a smartphone screen. I can also rotate it. And let's go back. So using this presentation preview window, you can actually play around with your presentation before you publish it to your LMS or deliver it to the end user. And this is very close to the final result that you'll experience on your iPads and iPhones.
Mm-hmm. Looks pretty nice.
Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned before, everything is adapted automatically, and probably it's already clear to you, but let's break up a learning course into parts and see which elements are responsive. So this is a quiz. Okay. Let me go back to my presentation here. So course components. Presentation player is fully responsive. As I mentioned before, this universal player, you don't need to adjust it. It automatically adjusts to tablet and to a smartphone. Quizzes and surveys that you create with QuizMaker are fully responsive, as you have just seen. And additional interactions that you create with iSpring visuals, like FAQ, timeline, dictionary, are also fully responsive, every single interaction. For example, a timeline rearranges to a vertical view when you open it on a smartphone. Dialogue simulations are fully responsive as well. It's very cool, by the way, to complete dialogues on a smartphone. Looks fantastic. Let me bring up this really quick for you. So this is a dialogue simulation created with the iSpring dialogue tool, and this is a user experience on a desktop, and on the right hand side we can see the same version, but that appears on a mobile device. Important thing here is that we can see the browser's address bar and navigation bar below. If we use iSpring Play application, these bars will now appear, and you'll experience fully like 100% full screen. But if you don't use iSpring Play, you will have these little bars on the top and on the bottom. So the last point here is PowerPoint slides, which are not responsive. It is the only thing that's not responsive, and yeah, it is just scaled to fit the screen, but actually there is nothing we can do to break PowerPoint slides apart and bring them back together so they fill 100% of useful space and fit all screens and their orientations. Like this is an image of a slide that appears on a smartphone, and it has some empty areas on these sides. Let me show you this. This is a widescreen orientation of a slide. It's 16 to 9, and we can see that everything looks nice here. But if we want uh, to change the design of this slide and make it 4 to 3, like an iPad orientation, we would need to adjust these elements manually. PowerPoint unfortunately cannot do this automatically for us, and therefore iSpring cannot acquire this functionality that would do it automatically for you. Actually, we can make an iPhone orientation, a vertical one in a PowerPoint. I do not recommend you do that, but you can do that. So for example, some responsive web page on an iPhone would look like this, but it's
Mhm.
not possible with PowerPoint. I think you got it.
Michael, and we have a
Well,
really quick question here. Would you recommend developing PowerPoint slides in four, I'm sorry,
4 to 3?
4 to 3 or 16 to 9 format in
Yeah,
iSpring?
it's my first tip that I wanted to give you at the end of the webinar. Well, close to the
Okay.
end of the webinar, but yeah, 4 to 3. That's right.
Thank you.
Michael, there is an option in PowerPoint 2013 that
Uh-huh.
doesn't describe 16 is to 9 or 16 is to 10. It does says full is just says wide screen,
Oh
the
yeah.
wide screen option. Yeah, and I have found that it helps the course to occupy maximum area on a smartphone. If you can just go into the design
Yeah,
section,
yeah,
and
I'm
this is
here.
PowerPoint 2013, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and just go to custom class slide size.
Uh-huh.
And there will be a separate option that says only widescreen, the second last one.
Only widescreen, right?
Yep.
Like
And
this
click
one.
on OK. Yeah, click on OK.
Okay, probably I have uh, my presentation has been already created with a widescreen. That's
Okay,
16 to
okay.
9.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
hmm
what we got by default, but older versions of PowerPoint would create a new presentation using 4 to 3. So
Okay,
it's not
okay.
widescreen.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it would make a difference.
Well, yeah, it actually depends on the particular course that you design. If I just scroll back and pull it up for you, like you can see here that on a tablet we have a sidebar, and a tablet has
Mhm.
the orientation 4 to 3. And if we have a sidebar and if we have a widescreen slide, we'll end up having really large empty areas on the top and on the bottom next to our slide content. So I would recommend using 4 to 3 for most devices. Yeah.
Well, in that case, Michael, I think the resolution will be compromised. The overall resolution of the presentation, if
hmm
we use a lower slide ratio, then I have experienced a resolution compromise. I mean, the quality of the presentation that reduces a bit. When you use widescreen and 16 is to 9 or 16 is to 10 ratio, slide ratio, so in that case, the quality of the content as well as the quality of the published course is retained.
Well, you can actually fix it in the publishing settings when you go publish, and you can
Yes, compression settings. Yep.
yeah, you can set up compression settings, and you can at the Advanced tab, you can increase the resolution. So by default, it's for widescreen,
900 by
it's
540.
960 to 540 pixels, but I can upscale it to 130, and the final resolution will grow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but you know, most of the PowerPoint elements are not pictures. They're raster images. They're vector images like
Correct.
shapes and font and text.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, they will look sharp with any resolution here. Um, and also there is an option, optimize images for resolution. I recommend you using that. And it's more important than upscaling resolution here, but it's kind of another topic. I think that unless you like if you use 100% here, if you use any design option of the PowerPoint, and if you select optimize images for resolution and select like any value in the middle here, you'll not get any issues with the quality of images. And here is Paulina, can you share my webcam really quick?
Sure.
Okay. So here, this is
Very well.
an awkward way to show you, and I cannot share my smartphone screen with you guys, but here is a course that has been created by Nalin. Yeah, and it appears on our phone correctly. Oops. So yeah, there are navigation elements on the side. It's because this course has been created with a previous version. The modern version doesn't feature these buttons on a smartphone's player, and you can only use swipes like left or right to move forward, or
Gestures?
yeah, swipe gestures
Gestures.
to move
Yep.
um, forward or back
No,
or
but in
backward.
iSpring, yeah, but Michael, in iSpring Suite 8, the user can turn on and turn off the control just by the point of a finger on full screen mode on the
Oh yeah,
the landscape
yeah,
mode.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You're
Yeah,
correct.
can I ask just one question? Because we have been receiving a lot of them. If I create my lesson in PowerPoint and use add-in features of iSpring and then publish, will it be responsive or not?
What do you mean by add-in feature? Like you
Like using iSpring, converting with iSpring, my PowerPoint.
well, for PowerPoint slides, they will unfortunately not be responsive, but all the elements that you create with iSpring, like a quiz or an interaction or simulation, will be fully responsive. So actually, our product developers do not create some new components uh, that are not responsive. So you may be sure that everything we add to our products are automatically responsive. But as for PowerPoint slides, we cannot override PowerPoint's natural behavior and like break slides and bring the elements back together. So our PowerPoint slides will appear like this.
Mm-hmm.
They will fit your particular screen of your device. It's totally fine on a tablet, on an iPad. It looks just fantastic. On iPhone Plus, it also pretty big. On smaller iPhone models, I have it here, uh, or maybe not here. Oh,
right there.
Yeah, on smaller mobile screens, it's not that great, but still you can use them to like to recap. Like these are two courses. This one is pretty cool. It's disaster management in Indian Railways, made by Nalin.
Who created it? Who created it?
Thank you so much for the honor.
So yeah, if you open it in browser, you'll have these bars on the top and on the bottom, but you can, yeah, I have locked orientation on my phone. Yeah, so it automatically adjusts if you change the orientation of your mobile phone. So your users will not have any problems because it's very natural. It's if text there is really small, they'll just tilt their device to read it more closely, and you can actually zoom in and see it enlarged. Like,
hmm
yeah,
Yep,
if I
exactly.
don't see something, I just zoom in and
Mhm.
Yeah, nice.
Michael, at the end of the course, there is a quiz. You can show the users that as well. The
mhm.
same course, the disaster management course. In the end,
Yeah, well,
there is an FAQ interaction, and apart from that, there is a quiz as well. In the same phone, you can show that to you.
yeah,
Show that to the users.
I think that
On the phone,
it'll be very engaging for users to experience it on their own.
mhm.
So maybe Paulina, you will share like a couple of links.
hmm
Uh, these links. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I already sent them to you. So please share it with everybody, and these are shortened links, and you will enter them in less than
Yeah, you can
10 seconds.
explore them on your mobile devices as
Yeah, and
well.
you can experience and try to complete quizzes yourself.
Yeah, maybe we should move on to the tips and tricks for content creation because we don't have too much time left.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's been a long demo.
It's a great discussion though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's,
Definitely.
by the way, very, very cool to have you, Nalin, on our
Thank
webinar.
you.
Yeah, we are not alone. We are with our users, which is great, and with you, with all of you guys, by the way. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
So
right.
let's move on to the tips and tricks section, and I want to share some expertise that's been acquired for the last couple of years um, by me, our support team, and our valuable users. How to optimize your PowerPoint course for mobile devices. And here's some design tips. The best recommendation will be selecting 4:3 aspect ratio in the slide design. You can also use a widescreen, which is 16:9. It'll be fine. But I think that 4:3 will give you the best user experience on tablets and on smartphones. Even if you uh, use your smartphones in a natural vertical orientation. Um, the second one is don't use portrait slide orientation design unless you're creating some digital signage in PowerPoint. I mean, by this I mean the option here. You can go design and you can go slide size, go to custom slide size, and you can change the orientation here. But if I apply that, it will break everything. You can see that the orientation has been
Yeah, it
changed, but
will. Mhm.
yeah, so I'd
It will
better
require restructuring. Yep.
yeah roll back. So the next tip is use large fonts. The good size starts at 20 to 29, I think, points or bigger. And this font is 29th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And please keep in mind that if you create buttons for your users, if you create really small buttons, they won't be able to click on them. So uh, this button will probably be good for a desktop course, but for a mobile course, you would like to use a bigger one, so even a smartphone user will be able to click on that. If your design doesn't imply that you use larger buttons, this is an awkward button. Sorry, I don't have time to create a good one for you. But let's just add, like, it is an X button, and we want it to be adapted for a mobile device. Then I can do this trick. I can actually enlarge the area of this button by overlapping it with some area. So I put a larger rectangle, and I'll make it with no fill and no outline. But it's still there, it's active, and I can set a hyperlink to this rectangle like this. This can point to the next slide, and therefore this tiny little button will work better on mobile devices. It's actually what our programmers do with the presentation player. Buttons are actually a little bigger than they appear.
Well, thanks for this tip, Michael. I mean, this tip is entirely new to me. I had issues with small buttons on my courses.
Oh,
This is a very
great.
useful idea. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's move on to the media tips. Your presentation may have on-slide video, but there are some limitations on Apple phones. Like every video is in a on a web page will be launched in a separate screen and will be played using a mobile version of QuickTime Player. So you cannot have your slide next to video played at the same time if you launch your presentation in a browser. But if you use an iSpring Play application, you can actually see the on-slide video and at the same time see the slide contents. The same goes for the video narration for the talking head. If we have one on our presentation, it'll not be shown on a browser, okay? But you will hear the sound from this video. When your user will try to open a presentation, like this presentation has let me share my camera. It has a talking head, and when your user opens this presentation, there's a default button, launch, using an iSpring Play app, but down below we can see the tiny link, continue with the browser, and if I click here, I will not see the video, but I can go and open it in my iSpring Play. And the video narration will appear like this. It's very, very cool and handy, and that's for like if in a
Mm-hmm.
landscape orientation, it also works great. So
Wow.
Yeah, iSpring Play app has some very cool features like showing a video next to a slide, and also you can save your presentations for offline view after you've finished with uh, I mean when you don't have a Wi-Fi connection, for example. Okay, let's go to the next point. I recommend you that you use medium audio and video compression. It's right under the publish button here. If we go compression, um, I suggest you guys always use optimized images for resolution. It'll make your pictures clear, and if you don't use it, probably some of your pictures will be blurry. And audio and video compression can be any from 50% to 80% or more if your users will use very fast internet. If you're not sure about that, probably using something about 60 to 70 or even 50 will be more appropriate in this case. And as for quiz tips, last but not least, for quizzes, certainly make shorter sentences, because um, if your questions contain a lot of text, your mobile users will have problems scrolling all these text. And don't use background images as a question, as I showed you before. If you use a background image on your quiz, it will not appear on your mobile version of your quiz. And that's it for my part, I think.
Thank you so much, Michael. And before we move on to Nalin's part, I am sharing in the chat box the link to the webinar, which we did with our expert, Mark Simon. He was talking about quality assurance for creating content for mobile devices, and he provided tons of great tips on how to make a great content that will be viewable on different mobile devices. So if you guys want, you're welcome to check it out. And then I'm passing the mic over to Nalin. And Nalin, if you could please really quickly, if possible, share with us your experience of working with iSpring and having your responsive content shared with your students. That would be great.
Yeah, sure, Paulina. Thank you so much. To start with, probably 5 to 6 years back, very few people knew about responsive design. I mean, it's something which is very, very recently introduced to people. And I've been an iSpring user since a long time. But initially, my choice was not limited to a particular software. I mean, Purpose was the only friend. I was using Adobe Captivate. I had been using Articulate Studio. I had been using detailed softwares like Dreamweaver, Adobe Dreamweaver, and other platforms which require a lot of detailed work to produce content, e-learning content. But the thing is, in 2013, when iSpring came up with the iSpring presenter, which had the HTML5 publishing capability, it really changed my working platform on which I develop courses. Um, I had courses developed on other softwares earlier, which were obviously not responsive. They were HTML5, but they were not responsive. I mean, whenever anybody would be trying to view them on a mobile device or a tablet, they never fit this. They were never specific to the device screen, providing a very poor learning experience. When I started using iSpring, I found it perfect for my purpose. I mean, whether I view the content, my learners view the content on a mobile device or a smartphone. This course that you are playing right now is for mathematics for school education, and the learners are really enjoying all the courses. They find it really very useful and purposeful. And also it saves a lot of time for them. It provides less efforts in learning and understanding very complicated mathematical or science concepts. And the quiz features are fantastic, and it gives me a lot of inspiration to develop more and more outstanding courses. So currently I've been delivering courses for school education as well as corporate learning, the examples of which you have shared. And all of them are complying with the modern responsive and HTML5 norms that are applicable to the a very good learning experience for the users. And this says, I think responsive design, it's not limited to what it is right now. There is a lot of
Mm-hmm.
innovation that is ripe in it, and we have lots of things to see in the coming time, because day by day browsers and devices are getting improvements and new functionalities every day. So we are expecting a lot of things to be introduced in the coming time.
Right. Thank you very
Mm,
much, Nalin. Okay,
yep.
so I think that we do have a couple of minutes to answer a couple of questions. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, sure. I'm just looking at the. I was engaged by this course, as a matter of fact.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael.
All right, so the question from Martin, and I think it was kind of covered during the webinar, but let's talk about it a little bit more. The problem from my view is that you design on a desktop, but it is consumed on mobile devices. How do I check the design on mobile devices during the construction process with iSpring Suite?
Well, yeah, here's the thing. You can always go and, for example, this Space Shuttle program presentation. And for example, I wanted to check if this slide will look okay on my mobile device. So I will go preview, or I will go publish, but they're typically the same thing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I will preview just selected slides. I'll click on there. And it takes like a little time. It actually depends on a computer processing speed. Mine is not very fast. Probably our users will have like faster computers, and I assume that this text will be pretty small on a mobile device, and we can check it by going to. So this is a separate window. It's presentation preview window. Let me unfold it to a full screen. I will go desktop, smartphone, and here is an image of a smartphone. And yes, I was right. Text here is really, really, really small. So only if I tilt my screen, I can read something, but maybe not on a smaller iPhone, but on a bigger iPhone Plus. As for,
This,
uh-huh.
sorry, just wanted to ask, this presentation preview mode is pretty accurate, right?
Yeah, it's very accurate. It doesn't just have the bar on the top that you'll always have on your mobile device that shows you the time, the battery power, etc. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's very
Mm-hmm.
close to the original.
Okay.
But
And the next
also
question.
probably you might have a black iPad, not white. So,
Okay,
well,
thanks.
yeah, then I would need to
How dare
rearrange
you?
all the colors in my course, right?
All right. Okay, let's move on to the next question from Ankush. And I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Can users using smartphones be able to complete training in offline mode?
Well, it's possible with the use of Tin Can API. If you publish your course, there are different publishing settings. If you publish to a third-party LMS, I would tell you that if you use iSpring Learn, then yes, you can complete your courses underground, and then when you go up to the surface when your iPad or your iPhone is connected to the cellular network, the courses will be pushed to the iSpring Learn data storage, and your results will be saved in the system. But if you use a third-party system, there is no way that you can do offline course submit with SCORM. So SCORM, the main disadvantage of a SCORM format is that you cannot do this offline learning mode. But with the Tin Can API, which is also called Experience API, you can do that. But I think that we should do another webinar on mobile
applications.
Yeah, on mobile applications, on
Yeah.
setting up a mobile course and delivering it to end users. This very webinar is more about responsive design, how your courses will look on different devices, and the other webinar that we probably will hold next month, or we'll cover all these questions. So just stay with us and check the news about upcoming webinars. We'll be doing it like in a few weeks, I think.
Yeah, and we actually have a lot of questions which are connected with iSpring Learn LMS and iSpring Learn mobile application. So I think this will be very helpful if we could have the webinar like that.
Yeah, but you can guys still send all your questions, and we'll be emailing you the answers to your questions, and thanks to your questions, we'll make our upcoming webinar better.
Right. And a question from Stephen: how much of this responsiveness applies to material created in iSpring Presenter?
Well, everything. I have iSpring Suite just as an example on my computer, but all iSpring desktop authoring tools, like each and every that you can find on our website, are fully responsive. If I go to our website, yeah, there are the list of products, and all desktop products that are available by clicking on maybe I should have clicked all products here. So all the desktop authoring tools, iSpring Suite, iSpring Presenter, QuizMaker, it is supplied as a separate tool, and it's included in the iSpring Suite. iSpring Converter that just converts your PowerPoint to HTML5, and iSpring TalkMaster that I showed you before for dialogue simulations. Yeah, it's also fully responsive, so please just don't be afraid of picking any iSpring tool that you want, and every interaction and item will be responsive.
Thank you. And let's cover a very last question, because we are actually a little over the time set for this webinar, but I think this one is very interesting. This one is from John. Are Michael or Nalin aware of whether there is any research on the preferred learning styles and behaviors of children and adults with learning disabilities? For example, learners with a what's so-called a slower learner.
Yes, exactly. I would like to answer this question. Okay. When we started making our courses for school education, we carefully gauged the learning abilities of the class, of the standard for which we are going to make a course. For example, when we are preparing a course for class 8th student who is going to study mathematics, we took a survey and we carefully analyzed that what is the understanding level of those students. depending on their learning capabilities, on an average, like for an example, you can survey like 20 to 30 students, and you have to analyze and you have to scan their understanding capabilities, that how what's the best way they can understand a particular concept. So that was the way, because if you create a course that is prepared along according to the learning and learning capability of a student of class 12th, and you are delivering that to class 8th student, that doesn't make any sense. You have to understand, and you have to carefully tailor the course according to the learning requirements and learning preferred what I can say that preferred learning methodology that the student will prefer, that particular class student. So I think it's very important that before creating a course, you should carefully understand the learning requirements. Now, if when you are talking about a student with a physical disability, you first have to see that what's the most easier way for that particular student to understand a particular concept. Like for example, we did prepare a course for a client long ago. I mean, as what I can recall, it was for the student, for the patients of a mental asylum. I mean, we had to make it something entertaining, because you cannot let them, you cannot provide them a course which is meant for a normal person. They have to find it very entertaining. So we had introduced a lot of media content along with gamification and all that stuff, so that they actually don't find any kind of distraction while going with the course. So the first thing that you need to analyze is what exactly engages the learner. Like, are they going to be engaged by gamification or by some entertaining media stuff in between the course? I mean, the course can have break points in between, so that the users get a refreshing experience for a while, and then they can later continue with the course. So I think this is the best strategy, and I think this is a good answer for the question.
Thank you very much, Nalin. John says that this is very helpful.
Yeah,
All
my
right.
pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you. So I just wanted to say for all the webinar attendees who submitted their questions and for some reason we didn't answer them, most of them were about uh, iSpring Learn LMS and the mobile applications. We will get back to you after the webinar with the answers. And the webinar recording as well as the Michael's presentation will be available after the webinar. It will be sent to all the registered attendees. And I would like to thank all of you guys for joining us today. I would like to thank Michael for this wonderful presentation. I hope that it was helpful to the attendees, and also Nalin for taking time to join our webinar today. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge, expertise, and telling us about your case. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paulina. It was a pleasure being here, and I really find it very fortunate to express my thoughts and ideas for the audience and everyone. Thank you.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah, thank you a
Have a
lot.
wonderful day. I'm sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Nalin and you, Paulina, and all of our attendees.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next week at our webinar. It will be a joint webinar with Administrate LMS, and we will be talking about how to quickly launch online training with iSpring and Administrate LMS, and the invitation will be sent out to you guys shortly. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Have a great time. Bye.
Okay, bye.